Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. All right, guys. Earnings season in full swing mode. There's so many opportunities in the market right now. If you are trading the earning setups, was a decent day. Most of our day was done in the morning. Few small losers, but we had a decent wins. A lot of shorts today. PayPal, ST Lauder. PLTR was a nice trade all day, upside and a downside. Day two setups were really good today. Apple was really good. TEM. So we're going to discuss all that. Lot to discuss. Let's start with a quick introduction to anybody who's new to me, new to my Twitter X, new to YouTube, or new to the community. All these recaps and all these teachings that I share here are either from any ideas I share on Twitter X or on my previous YouTube videos, or mostly from my communities. We trade a repeatable system, Ripster cloud system that thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently, changing many lives. And we trade repeatable setups. We do not trade random. We strictly trade with the trend. When our system says to buy, we buy. When our system tells us to sell, we sell. So every morning, me and my team, we create a game plan for the day. I create this game plan live half an hour before the market open for my community. And this was the game plan for today. I highlighted the main plays, the focus on in red. So we'll look at those plays today and see how they worked out. And we'll talk about the few plays that I guided in the community. We give this game plan, we have to make a support and resistance, and then we make initial game plan. For example, you can see that what was the plan on PLTR. We'll go through those one by one. And we also provide something called day 2 day 3 setup. This is another of my repeatable strategy that I did a free webinar on, and I teach you guys every day on YouTube and on Twitter as well. We also provide daily levels to trade the marketplace: SPY, QQQ, IWM, VIX, Netflix, Boeing, Amazon, Meta, all those. In addition to that, we provide daily levels for the crypto stocks: Coin, MSTR, CLSK, Bitcoin. And recently, we also started trading futures. We opened a futures room in the community. I did share a lot of the future guidance on NQ long today. We will talk about that. But so if you are trading futures, join the community, and you can trade futures as well with us. In addition to that, we also share a lot of other information. We have low floor channel in the community. We trade IPOs. And I'm on the voice first few hours of the market open, guiding the traders through the trades, the market, my analysis, the setups, and thousands of traders are on our trading floor, trading all day, sharing setups to help you find good trade setups, to help you make good trades, win big, lose small. That's what we try to do every day. We have a bunch of option flow scanners free in the community. We have stock scanners. We have 3-4 scanners that we have breaking news voice alert, scanner alerts, voice scanners, breaking news stream. So we try to stay on the top of the market and to find those opportunities. The tools we provide are worth hundreds of dollars free in the community as well, if anybody wants to join the community. Anyways, that's the introduction. Let's start with the plays and let's go through one by one through all the plays. All right, let's start with SPY and QQQ today, and we'll take a look. My focus this morning was QQQ. Before I start show you my SPY guidance, QQQ guidance, I do want to show you that the power of the MTF clouds, right? So SPY was breaking out of this nice little MTF clouds, the 2021 MTF clouds. QQQ at the same time was breaking out of the MTF and 2021 EMA clouds as well. So that was the setup, and we were already watching this setup. And let's see on my guidance, I particularly focused on QQQ, and then I focused on NQ futures, since we have recently implemented trading NQ futures in the community. So we'll show you how that worked out here. So you can see the QQQs on this side and NQ this side. I gave the levels on NQ futures as 21,498, 21,476. So those were all these levels, breakout levels that we were looking for on both NASDAQ and QQQs. Initially we were under the MTF, and then as soon as we saw that QQQ is breaking out of the MTF clouds. I said it's an MTF long. Same for NQs. It's MTF long. Your stops are right under here. Wherever you're adding, if you're risking, 40 points. So NASDAQ is futures at $20 a point. If you watch the webinar in the community, I'll try to put out that webinar as well on YouTube as well. But you can watch the webinar and learn how to trade the futures. And also the QQQ calls, QQQ was good. TQQ, you can trade the leverage ETF, TQQQ, or you can trade futures. If you look at the QQQ this morning, let's look at the 521 calls. Those calls went from $3 to $5, right? A little more than 50%. That was not a bad trade. And the QQQ and Q futures, depending on where you're adding, because your stops are right here at 21,440s, they did run almost 150 points. If 100 points is, that's what it is. It's so that ran like 150 points. You could easily make $20 per point. So that was easily a couple $1,000 trade to make profit on the Nasdaq futures trade. And the QQQ already showed you, the calls, or even if you were long TQQ, which is a leverage ETF over the MTF clouds, that ran from 81.50 to 83.50, you could make $2 per share profit. If you had 1,000 shares of TQQQ, you're risking $500, trying to make $1,500 to $2,000. So those were the trades. You can see my guidance: NQQQ, MTF long, move the stops up, scale out, hold the rest into 10 a.m. And then SPY also started to break out of the MTFs at the same time. You can see that, you could long SPY as well, that's fine. But I was more interested in QQQ because the MTF clouds were way lower than SPY. And so they were giving much better risk reward. And I was looking at the other names, Apple pushing and other things pushing that were helping out. And finally, QQQ gave up right at the 512s. That's when you exit it all. And same thing for NQ futures. Once they gave up right here, 21.6036, you get out. So you see that even if wherever you added, there was easily 150 points to be made there on those ticks on NQQQ as well. NQ futures as well. And you can see all the timestamp guidance here on QQQ longs. Today was the MTF long. Repeatable setup. If you talk about it, it's breaking out of pre-market highs. Then it broke out of, after our highs from yesterday. So it's a long, and you just have to respect your 512 clouds as your risk. Keep moving stops up as it pushes higher, and finally you get out when it breaks here. But of course you scale out on the way. So that was a good trade. 60-70% on the calls. A couple points on the TQQQ, and nice 150 points on NQ. NQ trades. NQ trades 400 points, right? So there's always good profit to be made there. We have defined risk right here at the MTF clouds. So beautiful day, beautiful day on just if you were trading the index. But after the morning trade, there was not much. You could trade these bounces of the MTF clouds right here, but there's not much left, and that was about it. So anyways, good trade. Let's go to the next. All right, let's look at NVDA quickly today. NVDA was a good trade in the morning. Just want to show you not a lot of my guidance, but a lot of flow was alerted in the community all day. Ghost board was on top of it with the flow. And let's look at our NVIDIA levels we gave in this morning. Let's see here. NVIDIA levels were 117.50 and 119. Also, NVIDIA has a day 3 setup. So once you see that's pushing over this 3450s, right away you take the long. And when you see the flow coming in, a lot of flow coming in, insane amount of flow coming in. I mentioned MTF. I mentioned MTF test that we should push towards the MTF, and it did push through MTF, and then it finally failed and came back. That's where you stop out. But this was, and then we tried to curl the long midday. That kind of was a flattish trade. But what I really want to focus here is on the flow and the trade with the market. So I already showed you the QQQ was strong, but if you see that when you have such a strong flow and the market is strong and your system is telling you take a long, you take a long, right? So it's this one, not a lot of my guidance, but I'm very proud of all the traders who killed it. NVDA in the morning there, so this was a good trade. If you followed the flow, that's why I really tell everyone to focus on the flow, especially in the morning trades. When something is strong, you can trade it with the flow. So that was nice. Just wanted to quickly recap the power of the flow today, and really nice tool built by Ghostboard as well. You must check it out. All right, let's now look at our main play of the day was PLTR. PLTR was a pretty straightforward play. Let's see, but did give a lot of opportunities on both sides. So I did share a PLTR breakout chart on my Tanner charts. If you want to look there, this was a weekly breakout setting up into the earnings. And when the PLTR earnings came out and PLTR gapped up so high, and the big thing was PLTR was over 100 psychological level. So that's always a big tell for me that if it holds 100, then I would long it, right? So that was my planning as well in the pre-market guidance. Let's look here, let's see what was happening here. So let's see here. So pre-market guidance was pretty clear on PLTR, long over 100, short under it, no go under 98 and 100. So there's few ways to play this, right? You see this dip towards 100. As soon as you see the swipe, you can add right away, market order it, and then you can wait for the breakout and add more. So it was not really like a crazy mover like we had on Kava or Reddit, but regardless, it was a good play in the morning. So if you look at that, so 100 holding, 105 breakout. So as soon as I saw that, I personally, guided the trade long versus 100. Basically, even if you're adding at 103, you don't really have to, risk that fully 100 if you are like sizing too high. But ideally, that's what we want to do. We want to add small. That's why we add small. In case it puts to 100, you can manage it and scale in and put your stops under 100. Big psychological level. You can see this line that I drew at 100. And then as soon as, and 100 is a big concept. I've been teaching a long time. So I told everybody at 935, you can see that, but probably a lot of traders were already long PLTR. So once it started to break out of this 105, and I said you can scale in, you see this second candle pushed over 105. Now our targets were 108. We pushed to, it doesn't look like much, but if I go to the 3-minute candles, you will see that that was a decent morning move on the long side, right? It was a decent move on the long side. And when we pushed over 105, you add a little bit more, and then we pushed towards 107. And then I said scale out, right? I did say scale into the position at that breakout here, right here, 945s. You add more into your position. You have to be fast at the open. And once you push higher, you scale out of your position, sell half, or you sell what you added here, because you already added here. So you can scale in and move a little bit average up. And then you have to move your stops up. You can't have your stops at 100 anymore. Your stops have to be higher at the 512 clouds, right here, 104s. And then, again, 10 AM is always a profit taking time. You see that 10 AM, it struggled. Then it pulled back, tried to push. I did tell everybody to stop out here, but when it reclaimed, we tried another long. But you can see that lower highs. And once this breaks, you completely get out. And then it was also a short scalp. I did say 512 short scalps now. And then you could short it, back towards the 100. So you can, trade another setup. I love it better with the shares than the options. So those were the two setups. Didn't really end up like a home run or anything like we had on IBM and other trades, but there was definitely profit to be made if you were timed right. So there was a morning trade and there was a midday trade. That reclaim kind of failed because we could never break out of the flag. So, and you can see that again, it bounced from 100. So how much important the 100 was, because when traders were shorting in midday, I mentioned to them that um, uh, that you should cover at hundreds. Big buyer, if you are short, good spot to cover. And look at that. The big buyer was there, and that's why it bounced, and then it pushed back. Not really a fan of this setup because the main play was here. Because of such a big gap up, the range kind of died down. It was moving to a smaller range, but you could still make a few dollars up and down there. So that was PLTR. Good example, good case study. We have had a better trades with 100 psychological number, but this was a good example and good case study there today. Let's go to the next. So let's look at another setup that was was PayPal, right? So PayPal, let's go to the pre-market planning. Pre-market planning on PayPal was simple. Bearish buys to short the pop, PM lows break, it confirms, cautious of 512, 84, 87, whatever resistance. You see that, it could never really push higher, and it dropped. You short it here, and then you watch it, keep it holding it, holding it, holding it. Once it fails the 512, you short again. So that's what a lot of traders did. I shared on Twitter as well. A lot of traders nailed PayPal in a really nice way. I really liked it, what community was doing. Everybody was, that's the beauty of our community. People, you don't need to spoon feed. Everybody fishes on their own. The teachings I teach and the system I show everyone every day, and there's a profit to be made, right? So if you want to look at the options, let's see how the options were doing on PayPal. Maybe we can look at the, we can look at the 75 puts if we want to look at that one. So let's look at the 80 puts, right? So the 80 puts in the morning, they pushed from 80 cents to $1.40, and later in the day, you see the 80 puts are holding the MTF clouds, and those puts later went from, this is the midday, you see the midday breakdown that I just showed you. So that was a midday breakdown, and I can show you right here. Maybe it's easier here. So that's a PayPal chart, and that's the PayPal option chart, which is a game changer now on the trading view. So those are the 80 puts here. If you're trading the put, you see this one if breaking the 512s, and you see that from that it went from $1 to 240s. So that was couple 100% profitable trade on PayPal. That's my midday 512 breakdown. But even if you were bought the puts at the open, you made a little bit, but you don't really stop out because there was no reason to fully stop out because we never really curled over 512s. You see those candles, and you add back more, and you hold. And I clearly said that no reason to cover, heavy, no reason to cover. I continuously said 1249, 220, even at 220, I said no reason to cover. Even after that, we dipped, and that 80 puts went way higher, right? So you see the volume in 80 puts. So that's how you trade, guys. Earning setups, beautiful winner, easy 100% puts on there as well on PayPal. Let's go to the next one. Next one we're going to look at is Race. So Race is a Ferrari. It's not a Ferrari company. It's not for everyone. This ticker, it's a spready stock. It has a big range. It has a lot of spread. So it's for larger accounts, much better trade for the larger accounts because it trades a huge spreads. But as soon as the market opened, and we did have a pre-market plan on Race as well. Let's see here, bullish bias to long, right? So I had a bullish bias to long on Race, and 444 support, 450, 452 was resistance. And you see that I said watch pullbacks for long, should go today. I didn't really look at the options there. But for the shares, you can easily take a couple hundred shares if you're a large account, 300 shares or something, and you could easily make, because it ran from 456s since I mentioned it all the way to 470, and 470 was my target in the morning, and you could easily make, even if you had 300 shares, you could make $3,000. Maybe you're risking $1,000 and making $3,000. So you see that move, right? So Race, watch pullbacks long, should go today, flag set up, there goes 470 next. And once it broke the 512s, you were out of the Race. That was it. This was where you were out. You see that my 470 target, and that's where it rejected, and it finally got out. You need to be smart about taking your profits and get out of it, right? This was a nice short as well, 512s, and then we'll see day 2 is on high watch. Not for everyone, kind of a little illiquid name. So let's look at XPEV. So XPEV was kind of a loser today, even though it went higher. Didn't really give us much. I mean, I gave the support at long versus 116.60. That's what I gave as a as a long right at the open. I mean, it was just very small ATR. I don't really like ATR, low ATR stocks. XPEV was another earning place, but I usually try to give small account traders some good trades here. Gap fill under 1640, long over it. When I saw the strength, it was a long right away, 1660, and then it pushed, but it couldn't. I needed the 720 break, pulled back, pushed, and then came back. It was not really do much, right? It was flat to loser trade. You could make 30-40 cents, but not worth it. So XPEV, let's call it a loser here. So let's look at Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder was another beautiful short. The cosmetics company, I think it's also impacted by the tariffs, right? So double MTF, short under it, long over it. So that was the pre-market plan. This is the pre-market support, resistance, and the plan. And once I saw that breaking the pre-market lows, that was it. Estee Lauder was a short, also a short. Still heavy, flag break under 70, we get more stops at 74. So this was a bear flag break and the stops were 74, and then 66 was a big daily support, should have locked the most, and you see it almost bounced close to the 66 daily support we were looking at, and then it curled on 512s. You exit your shorts here, maybe make a little bit on the long side, but that was our Estee Lauder trade. You see that there was MTFs above, and then easy short, right? I mean, you can look at the options on the puts, how they moved. If you really want to look at that, let's see here. I like to short the shares much better, but Estee Lauder, let's look at 73 puts. Illiquid, but that went from $1 all the way to $5. You could easily make 300-400% there on Estee Lauder puts as well. Again, no hindsight, no BS. Pre-market planning was, short the pops, Estee Lauder, short under, long over, and as soon as it is not able to get over, the MTF clouds, it's bearish, and as it breaks the pre-market lows, it's confirmed bearish. Bear flag, short. That's it. Let's look at some more earning plays there. Let's look at MRK. Mark was short, but that didn't really work. So that was a loser. So the reason it did not work was it didn't do anything after 10 a.m., right? I want to see a bear flag breakdown after 10 a.m. You should see that if you compare Estee Lauder with Merck, you can see that it was a confirmed short. I told everyone, but then it bounced, then it curled. It was $1 loss there. So that was per share dollar loss here. Let's go to the next one. All right, next we're going to look at some of the earning plays. Day 2, day 3 setups. So this morning I had Apple, especially on our day 2 setup. You see that day 3 actually. Because Apple had earning few days ago. You never forget about these stocks. These stocks will always make a move, give you opportunities, and that was Apple today. So Apple confirmed long, day 3 bullish right here over the clouds, filled the gap, held the bullish. I said it should push to the MTF. That's what the target I gave on the MTF. 1 hour above, day 3 bullish, and it was our day 2 setup, and it pushed to the MTF cloud and even closed over the MTFs. Apple close over the MTFs. Let's look at the daily chart on Apple here for a minute and see if it can recover some more tomorrow, which is a day 4. It's going to face a lot of resistance above if you look at 1 hour chart, but definitely it can push towards 235s, but it's going to face a lot of resistance there. There's a gap resistance at 235s area, but 1 hour is trying to set up on Apple. But anyways, this was the reason Apple was on our plan. That was a day too long. There was some other longs like China plays, PDD. So PDD was day 2, right? The China has been in news. So PDD MTF long. So that was the MTF long. and you see that it pushed. Since it crossed the MTF, it now really looked back. It ran $6 per share, 100% ATF, 100% 17 ATR. I told everybody to keep some runners for 115 plus. We did hit 115.20 and finally gave up right here. This is where you get out. So PDD was a nice day 2 setup as well as an MTF long. So that was a good one. You see how the traders did it. Also, there was a PDD, was a gap. You see CP3 was on top of it. Hansel, CP3 made it 190%. From the future did good. From the 512 dips. So it was a good trade overall, and community did really well on PDD. Well, let's look at some more earning day 2 plays. Sorry, we already covered a lot of earning plays. TEM was another day 2 play. It was pretty simple. Today was a bearish 63.20 support, 66.80 upside resistance. You see that it could never push over that, and once it breaks this support right here, then it's a short, right? Basically, you can short a couple of points to the MTF and make some profit. The money to trade was right here to buy puts and short it. Let's look at another one. So another one which was day 2 was Shop. I covered Shopify yesterday as well. I did mention it. Any good news, Shopify is going to go back right up. And you see that. So I talked about the Shop yesterday as well. This morning 115 and 116.75 were 2 points. And remember, same concept on Shop. Turn the 1 hour bullish right here. It's as simple as get, guys. I show you these setups again and again and again. You see that Shop pushed, you'll take it long, your stops under it, and Shop ran from 116 to 120, and that was the Shopify trade. Both days. So this was Shopify yesterday when I gave it 512 longs and the nice trade. I did tell anyone that it's gonna get back. So yesterday was under the 1 hour MTF. You see that it rejects 1 hour MTF and then it pushes over the 1 hour MTF today. So see how easily you could figure out the trend. So this was yesterday, and then you see this bounce right from the MTFs and then pushes all day long. Right, so that was our Shopify day 2 long. Beautiful trade as well. So many opportunities. This is the reason I put a lot of these day 2, day 3 setups right on the top here. You see top, Apple, Shop, Apple, TEM, all those give some decent trades. I didn't see what Oklo did. Oklo was a choppy, but you could short it right at the open on this candle. But these are the beauty of the day 2 trades, guys. So next one we're going to look at is Spot. Let's see what Spot was doing. Spotify was a long at open, but it didn't really give much after that. It was a confirmed longs once it was starting to push, but I gave a 603 stops, and then it pushed towards 617, and then it pulled back, and 600 held 512s, pushed again, and then broke down. Right? I mean, it was not a great. It did hold the clouds if you waited for the pullbacks, but I would not call it like in the morning. I wouldn't call it a crazy long good trade. But the real setup that came in was this 512s, right? That was a midday 512 longs. This was the midday Spotify 512 longs, right? So this, when it reclaims here, you get long. The morning trade was not really great, but the midday on Shopify, you can see you can trade this setup. This kind of didn't work, but once it broke out of this level, then it rallied all day. Shopify is a high watch for day 2 as well. Sorry, Spot is high watch for day 2. So there were some other plays as well. ARMK was there. That was a decent short in the morning, but it kind of, so ARMK. So what was happening was, let's look at the guidance. I said super heavy short, but then it started to hold up here. When I saw these candles, I told everybody it's going to bounce. Watch out. You see that? 10-10, I'm saying it's going to bounce. Watch out. And then right away, and it bounced from the 512s right back up and then turned into the 512 curls. So it was no longer a short, right? So that was I gave a good warning. So it was kind of a scratch trade if you shorted later. Let's look at what was the plan on ARMK. Short under MTF. So the short one was right here at the open, but that was a big move right at the open. So you can't add short here. If you add short here, That's a problem. That's why I gave a warning that it will bounce to the 512, so watch out. And that's when it bounced and then it curled and you get out of it. So there were some other trades as well. There was Pepsi, which was a bearish bias to short. Pfizer had a lot of MTF clouds above. Clorox, which was a bearish bias to short. So all these setups were short. If you look at Pfizer, Pfizer failed and the MTFs was a short, rejected 512s was another short. And then it was basically all day short, right? And then there was a RFK news coming out there as well. Then there was Clorox. Then the Clorox was another fader. You see all day fader on Clorox. And then there was Pepsi, which was of course fading due to the RFK Junior. So these were some kind of the opportunities which were in the market today, guys. So this is the opportunities earnings provides. I just show you how the price moves. You can predict the price if you follow the system. All you need is small losers and big winners. As you see, we do have losers, but our losers are, they are small compared to our winners, which are much bigger, right? So I showed you a couple of 2-3 losers ideas there as well, but the winners were definitely big ones. And always focus on the top plays, but there's opportunity for everyone. You can trade earning plays, upgrades, market. You see today I didn't trade too much the market plays. Focus was mostly earning, and a lot of those earning plays really panned out nicely. All right, guys, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.